Good day everyone, welcome to this video lesson, and today we are going to discuss about the general form of quadratic function and standard or vertex form of quadratic function. Okay, so we are focusing on how to transform general form of quadratic function y equals ax squared plus bx plus c into standard or vertex form, which is y equals a times the square of x minus h plus k. Before we discuss the process of transforming general form of quadratic function into a standard form or vertex form of quadratic function, let us first recall about the concept of completing the square. So when we say completing the square, it is the process of putting a quadratic expression into a form of the square of a simple expression plus a constant. So for example, if we have 2x squared minus 16x plus 15, so we have to isolate the constant. If the coefficient of x squared is not equal to 1, factor out that number. So that's the first step. So we isolate the constant, so meaning we group, in other words, we group the terms having variable x in parentheses like this one, 2x squared minus 16x. Since the coefficient of x squared is 2, we have to factor out that 2, so we come up with 2 times the quantity of x squared minus 8x plus 15. So it becomes negative 8x because if we factor out 2, this coefficient of x will be affected. So we have to divide this by the number that we factor out, which is 2. So negative 16 divided by 2 is negative 8. So that if we put this 2 back inside the parentheses, we will come up with 2x squared minus 16x. So you have 2 times x squared, so you have 2x squared. 2 times negative 8x, so you have negative 16x. Okay? So then, next, we have to take the coefficient of x and square it. So as you look at the given, this one is the coefficient of x. Taking the half of this is the same as multiplying negative 8 to 1 half. So negative 8 times 1 is negative 8, divided by 2 is negative 4. Then you have to square, so you have 16. So the result of half, the square of the half of coefficient of x is 16. So next we have to add the result inside the parentheses, and before we subtract the number to the constant, multiply it first to a, or the number adjacent to the parentheses. Okay, so we have there the result 16. So originally we have x squared minus 8x, so we add here the 16, so we come up with x squared minus 8x plus 16, then plus 15. Then before we minus 16, we multiply it first to 2. 16 times 2, so you have 32. So that's the result now, negative or minus 32. Now, what is the reason why we need to multiply this to 2 to balance the expressions? Kasi ibig sabihin, nag-add tayo dito ng 32, magma-minus din tayo dito ng 32. Kasi pag ibinalik natin itong 2 sa loob, magiging 16 times 2. No, kailangan, nag-add tayo sa loob, magbabawas tayo sa labas para hindi mabago yung expression. That is exactly the same to 2x squared minus 16 plus 15. Okay? So next, we have to write the perfect square trinomial into square of binomial and simplify the expression outside the parentheses. So we have that result. Okay, so we put there 2, and this x squared minus 8x plus 16, you have x minus 4, then quantity square, because x squared minus 8x plus 16 is a perfect square trinomial. So the factors of this is x minus 4 times x minus 4. So we just write it as the square of x minus 4. Then you have 15 minus 32, you have negative 17. That's why our answer now is 2 times the square of x minus 4 minus 16. So we apply the completing the square of this expression. Okay? Okay, let us have another example. X squared minus 7x minus 9. We have to rewrite this as a square of a simple expression plus or minus the constant. So the process that we are going to use is completing the square. So first we have to isolate the constant. So we have now the quantity of x squared minus 7x. So the constant is isolated because we regroup the term having x. So we have this. And if we observe, the coefficient of x squared is already equal to 1. So therefore, we can immediately take the half of the coefficient of x, then square it. So remember that the coefficient of x is negative 7. So we have negative 7. If we take the half of it, same as multiplying it to 1 half. So negative 7 times 1 is negative 7 over 2. Since negative 7 is not evenly divisible by 2, we simply write our answer in improper fraction. So you have negative 7 over 2. If we square negative 7 over 2, we'll have 49 over 4. So this is the result. The result, the half of the square of the coefficient of x. Then after that, we have to add the result inside the parentheses, and we subtract outside the parentheses. So we have this one. So the result is 49 over 4. So in this expression, we add this result, 49 over 4. So we come up with x squared minus 7x plus 49 over 4. Then minus, you have there minus 9 minus the number that we added inside the parentheses, 49 over 4. So it's because the value of a is 1. Even if we multiply 49 over 4 to 1, still the answer is 49 over 4. So we have to write this expression as a square of binomial. Then we simplify the expression outside the parentheses. So we have now the square of x minus 7 over 2, then 85 over 4. This is x squared minus 7x plus 49 over 4. The factors is x minus 7 over 2 times x minus 7 over 2. We can write that as the square of x minus 7 over 2. And negative 9 minus 49 over 4 is negative 85 over 4 because we have to multiply this 4 to negative 9. That is negative 36 minus 49. So you have negative 85. Then you have to copy the common denominator. So this is the square of a simple expression, x minus 7 over 2 minus the constant. So the process that we use is what we call completing the square. So this is the same process that we are going to apply in transforming general form of quadratic function into standard form or vertex form of quadratic equation. Okay? This time, you can transform the quadratic function y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, the general form of quadratic function, into y equals a times the square of x minus h plus k, the standard or the vertex form, using the process of completing the square. So if we talk first the general concept, for example, the given is the general quadratic function y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, and we wanted to transform this to vertex form. First, we have to group ax squared and bx within the parentheses, or in other words, we have to isolate the constant c. Then we have to factor out a from the group. So we have now a times the quantity of x squared plus b over a of x. So it becomes b over a because if we factor out a, we have to divide whatever the coefficient of x. Kung yan b, so i-divide natin doon sa a, kaya naging b over a. Okay? So that if we multiply, if we put back a inside the parentheses, so it will become ax squared plus bx. Pa rin. So a times x squared, so you have ax squared. A times b, ba divided by a is b. x. Okay, so babalik dapat dito. Okay, so paano ang susunod dito? So we have to make the expression inside the parentheses a perfect square trinomial. Okay, so ano ang gagawin natin dyan? So we have to take the coefficient of x. Ito, we take the half of this. So getting the half of b over a, that is the same as multiplying it by 1/2. Then we have to square. So b times 1 is b. Then a times 2 is 2a. Then you have to square. So square of b over 2a is b squared over 4a squared. So this is now the result. Okay? So i-add natin yan. I-add natin yan dito sa loob ng parentheses. So it will become now a times x squared plus b over a of x plus this result, b squared over 4a. Then plus c minus, but before we subtract, we have to multiply this first to the value of a, or a. So a times b squared is ab squared over 4a squared, that is b squared minus 4a. Makakancel yung a dito na isa, and this one, so ang matitira b squared over 4a. Then we'll write this one as a square of binomial. We'll write that as a square of binomial. So we have now a times the square of x plus b over 2a plus c minus b squared over 4a. To make this equation a simple one, we'll use another variable to represent this expression. Like for example, b over 2a, let us represent that by h. And this one will be represented by k, to make it simple. Okay, so you say if we let h be equal to negative b over 2a and k equals c minus b squared over 4a, then the equation is now y equals a times the square of x minus h plus k. Okay, so this is now the general form. I'm sorry, not general form, but the standard or the vertex form. So the vertex is hk. The hk is the vertex. Okay, so let us have now a particular example. So transform y equals negative 2x squared plus 3x plus 2 into vertex form or standard form. So the given general quadratic function is y equals negative 2x squared plus 3x plus 2. So we have to group negative 2x squared and 3x within the parentheses, meaning we have to isolate the constant. So we have quantity negative 2x squared plus 3x, then plus 2. Then we factor out negative 2 from the group. So you have now negative 2 times x squared minus 3 over 2 of x, then plus 2. So it will become negative 3 over 2 because the numbers that we factor out, the number that we factor out is negative 2. So we have to divide positive 3 by negative 2. That's why we have the negative 3 halves of x. Okay, so then next, we will make the expression inside the parentheses a perfect square trinomial. So, paano yan? So, we have now negative 2 times x squared minus 3 half of x plus 9 over 16 plus 2 plus 9 over 8. So, how do we get 9 over 16? So, that is the problem now. So, to get that value, we take the coefficient of x, this one. If we take the half of that, pull natin yung half niyan. So, the half of negative 3 over 2, half of that is same as multiplying it to 1/2. Okay, then we have to square. So, negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Then 2 times 2 is 1. 2 times 2 is you have 4. Then we square that. Square of negative 3 over 4 is 9 over 16. So, this 9 over 16, yun yung inad natin sa loob. Ayan. Then, we subtract this outside. But instead of subtraction, it turns to be addition because before we subtract, this 9 over 16 will be multiplied first to negative 2. So, negative 2 plus times 9 is negative 18 over 16. So, and that is negative 9 over 8. So, you have minus, should be minus negative 9 over 8, minus of negative, it becomes positive. So, that's why we have the positive 9 over 8. Okay? So, that's the result. Then after that, we have to write the perfect square trinomial into the square of binomial and simplify the expression outside the parentheses. Okay? So, it will become now negative 2 times the square of x minus 3 over 4, okay, plus 2 plus 9 over 8 is 25 over 8 because 8 times 2, 16 plus 9 is 25. Then copy the common denominator. So it becomes x minus 3 fourths quantity squared. It's because the factor of this expression is x minus 3 fourths times x minus 3 fourths. So we simply write it square of x minus 3 fourths. Okay? So then the vertex form or the standard form is y equals negative 2 times the square of the quantity x minus 3 fourths plus 25 over 8. So that's the final answer. Let us have another example. Transform y equals x squared plus 4x minus 5 into vertex form or standard form. So the given general quadratic function is y equals x squared plus 4x minus 5. So we have to group x squared and 4x within the parentheses, or in other words, we have to isolate the constant. Okay? Since a is equal to 1, we don't need to factor out a kasi 1 naman siya. Wala naman mababago kung factor out natin yung 1. So, ganyan pa rin. So, that's why we immediately take the half of coefficient of x. So, the coefficient of x is 4. We have to take the half of that. So, ang half niyan, pagkuha ng half is the same as multiplying it to 1 half. Then, square. So, 4 times 1 divided by 2 is 2. Then, square. So, you have 4. So, 4 is the result. So, this time, we have to add that 4 inside the parentheses and we subtract outside the parentheses. So, it will become now x squared or quantity x squared plus 4x plus 4. We added this result, 4, minus 5 minus 4. So, we subtract outside to maintain the value of the expression at the left side para maging doon pa rin sa original. Kasi pag in-expand natin, makaka-cancel itong 4. So, babalik pa rin dito sa original. So, to maintain the value. Okay? So, then we have to express the expression inside the parentheses is a perfect square trinomial. Express that as a square of binomial, rather. So, we have now y equals x plus 2 quantity squared. Then minus negative 5 minus 4 is negative 9. So we have x plus 2 because the factors of x squared 4x plus 4 is x plus 2 times x plus 2. We simply write that as a square of binomial x plus 2 quantity squared. Okay? So therefore, the standard form or the vertex form is y equals the square of x plus 2 then minus 9. Okay, what if the given is reversed? The standard or the vertex form is given, then you are going to transform it to the general form. For example, you have y equals 2 times the square of x plus 3 minus 5 into general form of quadratic function. So the given is y equals 2 times the square of x plus 3 minus 5. So all you have to do is to expand the product of the square of x plus 3. So you have 2 times x squared plus 6x plus 9. So that is the product if we square x plus 3, meaning x plus 3 times x plus 3 will come up with x squared plus 6x plus 9. Then after that, we have to apply distributive property. Multiply 2 into x squared plus 4x plus 4. So, multiply natin ito. So, 2 times x squared, 2 times 6x, 2 times 9. So, we call that as distributive property. So, if we do that, the result is y equals 2x squared plus 12x plus 18 minus 5. Then we have to combine 18 minus 5. Okay? So, simplify by combining similar terms. So, we have now y equals 2x squared plus 12x plus 13. Okay, so the result now, the general form of quadratic function is y equals 2x squared plus 12x plus 13. Okay, so this time you try to answer these exercises. You can write the answer below the section. So you have A, write the following quadratic function in standard or vertex form. Y equals x squared plus 8x plus 10. Y equals 3x squared plus 6x minus 2. Then y equals x squared plus 7x minus 8. And for letter B, write the following quadratic function in general form. Y equals the square of x minus 4, then minus 12. Then y equals negative 3 times the square of x minus 2/3, then minus 2. Okay, so that's all for our discussion. I hope you learned something on how to change general form to standard or vertex form or vice versa. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope that you learned something from this video lesson. Okay, until next time for another video lesson. Okay, God bless you.